Hello and welcome to another edition of the Eternal Journey. I'm That Resolves, and this is Galgamation Feln. So it's been a little while since we've had a really good Feln build, especially since the changes with Vara recently. But the Dead Reckoning campaign has given us two pretty spicy inclusions here. We've got Hailstorm, which is just miles better than Lightning Storm, and against some decks like Ricano and Stonescar Gunslingers, this basically kills everything in the deck, and it's very often going to be a 2 or a 3 for 1. Or if you're able to stall the board out with a Feln Bloodcaster, could even be more. We also get In Cold Blood, which, after the changes to Steward of the Past, gives us a real legitimate answer to any Mactos or other revenge units. Occasionally just sort of fitting in with our role of just wanting all of our spells we play just to be more than just a 1 for 1. We really want, for the most part, just to at least turn them into 2 for 1, and In Cold Blood has that ability, as if you kill a Justice unit and they have a copy of that in their hand, then you're able to pick it out of there and make them discard it, as well as any other copies in their deck. And as ladder decks tend to play full play sets of cards, so they want to be playing 4, there is a good chance that you are able to get one out of the hand. In Cold Blood also means that when you combine this with Vara's Favour, for example, then you've got a pretty quick and efficient way of just dealing with every Icaria in Armory decks, and that's going to make the matchup a lot easier, as they're not going to have any haste units, well, charge units, to be able to come in and just win off the top of the deck if you've managed to land an Azindel's Gift. We have another card as well. We've got the Daraka Queensguard, which I've been overall impressed with whenever I've seen it at deck. This is a proactive removal spell, really. As you can play it to just stun something out of the way, so you're able to keep getting in there for the Black Sky Hamager. You don't have to be as concerned on the backswing. But also it's just a huge threat, and if your opponent has spent 2 removal spells, say just trying to deal with your Champion of Cunning, then this is very likely to stick and will end the game very quickly. And the Overwhelm actually works really well with the Champion of Cunning's abilities to increase its power. We have the Azindel's Gift here as well, which is really going to shine in sort of mid-rangey, controlling mirrors, and will just help you to pull ahead in cards, and your threats will very often be difficult to answer, as if they look like the Champion of Cunning, it's going to take 2 removal spells as it is, and your opponent is just never going to get the chance to be able to play the 2 on the same turn. You'll have to take like a minimum of 2 turn cycles just to be able to deal with it, and by then you've just done 1,000,000 damage and the game's over. We've also got the Channel of Tempest, which is another win condition that is able to knock weapons off the opponent, as well as just being another removal spell in the matchups where we'd need it. Perhaps most interesting of all, though, is the return of the Feln Bloodcaster, as this fell out of favour for quite a while, and is perhaps one of the elements that led to Skycrag being such a threat on the ladder, as Feln Bloodcaster does an excellent job at just brick walling any Vadius or Champion of Furies, and this is a real late game threat. You can turn it into an actual threat with the Champion of Cunning, of course, but just being able to pay 7 when you've sort of ground your opponent down a bunch and you're just able to draw a card from the deck, and you also sometimes get a little bit of help from the RNG gods and you'll draw a revenge unit or something that really shouldn't be in your deck. But overall, this is a really good defensive unit, and it plays well with Hailstorm, as the Hailstorm doesn't take it out. And we've also got a Dark return here, which is perhaps a nod to the absence of Vara. But Dark Return is pretty great with Champion of Cunning, and in a pinch is still pretty darn good with Feln Bloodcaster. I think the archetype has been hurt by the changes to Vara, but I'm still excited to see it. And last thing as well before we go into the games is the power base. And again, this is sticking with the theme of a lot of your powers are just going to do something. So we've got the Cobalt Waystone here for Aegis, which is really helpful against any sort of discard strategies and can slow your opponent down if they're trying to do something like land of manacles on you, or against any other opposing Azindel's Gift. It gets a lot more difficult for that to happen. We've also got a couple of off-faction crests as well, with the Crest of Fury and the Crest of Chaos, which just gives you a little bit more scout in the deck. And alongside with Strategize, that just gives you a lot more card selection in the deck, and is just going to smooth out the games a lot more. And problem with old Feln was pretty much that you could just draw the wrong side of your deck, and with the crests and the not really needing to do much in the early game, this is going to help us get to that late game. Okay, so the list looks pretty good to me. Going to give it a spin on the ladder and see how it goes. Okay, so easy redraw here, just the 1 power. And this is more like it. Got a little bit of interaction with a Wisdom of the Elders and then a Bloodcaster Harbinger if our opponent's playing any sort of go wide strategies. And I think at this point I'm happy to play a Crest Cunning out here. And I think we will keep the Feln Bloodcaster. If this is a matchup where this isn't good early, then it's a matchup where it's good late. Just land the Crest, and another Permafrost is good, lets me know that I can just use this one right here, and unlikely that I'll need to be concerned about anything. So we'll find the way in this Xin and Lifesteal deck. That's pretty interesting there. I've no reason to play the Feln Bloodcaster, just gives our opponent a target for banish, so I'm just going to play the Wisdom of the Elders. And just keep digging towards power and more threats. So let's check out the Wisdom. We've actually got a Vara's Favour now, so we can just remove this. And I think that's what we'll do. Don't think our opponent will have any ways of removing the Permafrost. But now we can just strategize and just see what we get here. And as we've got another Wisdom of the Elders here, we'll have just to tuck a Shadow Sigil. There's no doubt it'll find more power. And I really just want to find dual influence powers right now. So playing against a massive Torment deck. So I think we'll Wisdom first. Just because if we find a Crest we can play it down. Okay. And Annihilate is probably okay against this deck actually, and it's probably going to be better for us than double Hailstorm are. So I think we'll actually keep that. Just so we've got a pretty easy way of dealing with any Sandstorm Titans. Shadowlands Talent I think is a worthwhile target for the Permafrost. Just because don't want our opponent going ham here with dark return targets.
It's written right here.
Wheelbarrow Beam, we'll just snap this off now. Though we can't quite yet play the Champion of Cunning. Though I think if we get to a point pretty soon where I might just be able to play it out just for the Anthem effect. I'll first spend the next 2 turns just developing these Black Sky Harmingers out, and then if they both survive we'll be able to play out the Champion of Cunning, which will just give us a board full of threats and make it a lot more difficult for our opponents have to decide where to play their removal spell. As if I remember correctly, these mass decks are a little bit light on removal. But of course now they get to play with the In Cold Blood, but that's not going to have any extra value against us. And I think we can save this for a turn. I'll just Permafrost it in the next turn. That's like our opponent's drawn another copy of Find the Way here. Yeah, but we'll take 7 here. Don't really want to trade. So we know what 2 of our opponent's cards is, and they're just going to cycle them into powers. I suppose now I've got a decision here. Do we want to get rid of the Wheelbarrow Behemoth, or do we want to get rid of the Shadowlands Tyrant here? Now, the Tyrant's not doing too much, but this is going to get progressively worse for us. So I think we could just attack here. And then play out my champion. And then hopefully we should be able to win any races with this. Well, our opponent's got enough ways here to gain power that I'm not too concerned about the Wheelbarrow Behemoth quite yet.
personal.
Okay, well, I suppose we just get to crunch in for 7 here. I think we will display the Feln Bloodcaster. Just it gives us more bodies and more threats there. Sadly, our Channel Tempest doesn't really do very much against the Wheelbarrow Behemoth here.
Your end draws near. Let it slip away.
Oops. Well, we're in trouble now. Everyone's got a huge lifesteal, but I don't think it's actually going to matter here. So now we get to get in for a bunch. We're not in trouble from dying to this. Going to cost us channelless, but I think we might just use the channel as a just kill our opponent next turn. So I probably can make the Tormentor here. So I just need to quickly figure out how much damage I can actually do. This will be 5 damage, so if we get in for the 6, oops, not do that. So if we get in for here, our opponent blocks the 11, takes the 6, and then we should be able to kill him with the Channel of Tempest. And that should do it. Okay, so we've got reasonable influence and some interaction and then some late game. But I think I really just got to find like some Wisdom of the Elders or something like that. This is sort of the same hand, but depending on our opponent's deck, then this Hailstorm could be as good as, well, better than the... Okay, so it's going to be better than the Permafrost here. So I guess we're just sort of digging to try and find an undepleted Sigil so we're able to play this on time. And Strategize will probably help here. Because, I mean, really should have bottomed that actually, just to try and find actual undepleted. Well, let's give our opponent more opportunities here to sort of deploy more into the board so that our Hailstorm is going to be able to be crushing. And we should be able to take over the game with a couple of Harbingers here. All our opponents get too many lifesteals. Okay, so now we're a bit of trouble. We need to find the undepleted this turn really. Now we've got Crest of Chaos, which isn't super helpful. So Strategize could find like a undepleted power and a Permafrost. And we didn't quite find that. But the Cold Blood could be very good against our opponent. Although they're going to have so few cards in hand that I don't think it'll be worthwhile. So just play a Crest here. And Channel Tempest, get out of here. So take us off a minimum of 8 here. Hoping that the War Cries haven't gone too out of hand here. But hopefully our Permafrost is able to clear up whatever's got all the War Cries on it. Okay, so again we need another undepleted power and we've found it, so we do get to Hailstorm here. And then we just get to Permafrost this. So if our opponent has a Valkyrie Force to be able to silence this, then they are able to kill us. Yep, and that's what we got. Okay, and I like this. Get to Crest on the first turn, then we get to Strategize. We've found some power to be able to play these fighties here. And if it's a matchup where one of them isn't good, then we get to Strategize it away. But we're on the play, so we're going to be under a lot less pressure. I'm just going to try and find power here, and more power is good. That's pretty much what we're after. Okay, so I don't think I really need to strategize yet actually, so I'm just going to get this Crest down. Just leave any powers on top. It's got more than enough power, and if we do start to flood then I'd rather use the Strategize then. Also it could be against Chalice here, so maybe we just want to be aggressively digging here just to try and find a gift. And Annihilate will be fine but not great. But don't want the Feln banner.
It's written right here.
I'm hoping this means that our opponent is stuck on power a little bit. But yeah, I don't need Vara's favour yet. Just pass the turn here. I don't suspect we'll need to use Annihilate, so we should really just be playing this at slow speed and just try and dig some crests.
It's written right here.
Now, I'm not going really ham with these Temple Scribes, but we'll get a bunch of this life back just from the Harbingers here. I think we're just going to strategize again. Just keep digging in there. And Hailstorm might be fine now actually. I do have a bunch of power. So get a Sigil out and Hailstorm. It's not the best play, but there's not that many targets we can actually take care of unless our opponent lands down like a Coffin or something. Yeah, but just getting rid of a bunch of bodies before our opponent's able to land this Chalice is pretty much what we're after. Okay, so we do have both sides of the champion up, so we're in good shape here. I think we can just bottom the favour and just slam this Crest down. And multiple champions should be able to close the game before our opponent is able to make much use of this Crystalline Chalice. Unfortunately, this is a time deck where we don't have to actually worry about anything like a Sandstorm Titan. Also, this is a pretty sweet trick here, is that with the Champion of Cunning, your opponent doesn't have a response window there, so you can still get to hold up Annihilate and get the Aegis. But these two Champions of Cunning should be able to close the game out in about 2 or 3 hits. While the Desert Marshal plus removal spot could be able to do it. Okay, well, I guess we're taking 4 here. But we'll be able to land the Champion now. I don't want another one exactly, so... Actually, just to make sure there's not a body for the Chalice, I'm just going to Harbinger here. And if this prompts another removal spell from the opponent, then this Champion should be able to really stick around and do some work. And if our opponent prompts, well, if opponent wants to make an owl, then we've got to outstat in both the Queensguard and the Annihilate.
Let your spirit rise.
I think this is another case where we perhaps just play down the black sky, just as a way of popping this Aegis. Well, it does give our opponent a way to be able to use the Chalice. We're able to just keep getting in and gain some life. And we do need to be a little bit concerned about both Harsh Rule and Island's favour in our opponent's deck. Well, Island's choice.
Let your spirit rise.
Bow to your new queen.
But I think I'm willing just to keep trying to get in there for damage. Just use a Daraka here. And if our opponent does Harsh Rule on the next turn just to try to stabilise, then the Champion of Cunning will be in pretty good shape. I'm keeping the power in hand just to give us a little bit of reach with this Channel of Tempest. Okay, so I probably wants to hold up perhaps something like a Desert Marshal here rather than drawing a card off the Sheltwing Rider. But with just the 2 power up, I think we might just torch our opponent's face. Okay, so they're going for the Strategize instead. Ideal top deck here would just be a Azindel's Gift. I would be able to land it straight away, and then we should be able to take away the game just with this champion on its own. Okay, so our opponent's got the Face Aegis, which means we'll have to use the Channel just as an actual removal spell here. But still keeping the Sigils in hand just to have a little bit more reach with these Channel Tempests. So our opponent's doing the heads up play of being able to remove the Aegis by using the Combat Healer's ability. So if we draw another unit, there's an argument for just not attacking into a Alan's favour here.
Let your spirit rise.
But I think we're at the point here where I might just try and trade in with this. And then I'm going to attempt to challenge my opponent's face just to remove this Aegis, and then next turn I'll be able to activate the Feln Bloodcaster.
Unleash the storm.
And if that doesn't go to plan, okay, so we're having a channel off here, but that does take up a bunch of our opponent's power. Okay, drawing a Desert Marshal from the opponent, so that could be pretty clutch for us here.
Tell me, what do you see, my friend?
My opponent's perhaps going to take over the game here because they're able to start going ham with these co-fans. I think I'll just Wisdom first, see what we find. Let's get this Crest out of here, and then I think the intention is just going to be to draw some cards and then hopefully figure something out next turn. We can also use the Desert Marshal just to ground the Kofan, but I think I might be using the Desert Marshal to ground this Owl and then just double block it. Though we don't actually have many targets for the Annihilates then, so I think I might just actually chuck the Annihilate at this Owl. I've got enough power with these Vara's Favours to actually be able to turn this Hailstorm into quite some damage, but I'll probably use it just to get rid of the Kofan. Chalice is definitely an interesting deck to be playing right now, but he does also get to play Hailstorm, which is perhaps awkward because it does remove a bunch of units, but so did Lightning Storm really, and it should just really be able to help it set up. It's also not super vulnerable to in Cold Blood here, though it does have a lot of Justice units. A lot of them don't matter too greatly. Now sadly, if we do use the Vara's Favour here to be able to kill the Kofan, what other way to pop our opponent's Face Aegis. But I think we're just going to get this threat out of the air.
Touch of shadow.
play the Feln Bloodcaster out next turn, even if it's just an expensive draw cards, just so we can get some damage in with this Tempest. Although Specs will be countered by Island's choice because we've not given them many targets yet.
Close your eyes. Listen.
It's going to be pretty rough to sort of fight through this, I think. Okay, well, let's play out and activate this Feln Bloodcaster here. And there we go, the Dark Return is going to be pretty good for us here, as this will help us to start turning these into actual threats. And I don't think it's quite worth using this Permafrost yet, but the Permafrost alongside the Desert Marshal is going to be pretty good for us, as this will allow us to even get rid of a co-farm for a bit. We can also use the Desert Marshal to be able to turn something with Overwhelm. It's been able to be targeted by Daraka, which is a little less safe. Okay, so opponent's on the Deco's plan, I guess. I think we could perhaps just Desert Marshal this. I think that's what we'll do. Just stop this from being a nuisance while we can. Then get our Face Aegis on. And I think I'll just sort of sniff out, see if there's an island here, and it looks like there's not. So I'll get to develop this Champion of Cunning. And it's going to turn all of our threats into real win conditions here. And the Champion of Cunning on his own is a pretty quick clock here. Although Spectre opponent might have us covered. But the damage has already sort of been done here. Okay, so they've got a harsh roll which tidies everything up. But fortunately we were able to silence that before it became a problem. I know it could be greedy and get the Feln Bloodcaster, but I think the real play is just to get this 10-6. And just keep churning for our opponent here. And we can wait a little while before we need to play the Waystone out. Our opponent's not going to have multiple ways of being able to deal with us. Perhaps we could have just played out the Daraka Queensguard there, just to sort of ensure that we've got lethal. But I don't want our opponent to actually deck us because we just run out of win conditions here. Champion of Cunning's pretty good with the 2 Dark Returns in the deck as well. Our opponent's digging furiously for some sort of answer, and they've not actually got very long to find it. But as long as we get one hit in with this, then we'll be in pretty great shape.
Tell me, what do you see?
Safe travels, friend.
Okay, well, sadly the Daraka won't be able to stun this. But I think I will use a Permafrost over here just to... Actually I won't, we've already drawn the card, yeah. So if our opponent hadn't have drawn the card there, then I would have been pretty happy just to stun it down. But I think this turn I will actually play the Daraka. Just get this out there. And then hopefully we're at least able to crunch in with this. So the Desert Marshal over here tells me that perhaps we've got an answer for it. But we do have a follow-up threat, which is pretty good for us. This is still a free turn clock though. So So our opponent does have plenty of time to draw out of it, especially if they are able to just keep drawing multiple cards a turn. I'm pretty sure we've used all our channels here as well. 1, 2. Yes, we've got one left. And this is a lot rougher without a Vara here to be able to pull us out and just bring all our units back from the bin.
Let your spirit rise.
So I think we're just going to deal with this now, just get rid of these, because these are actual threats here. Right, so look at our opponent's list, how many playing. And yeah, playing full play set of Shadow Grinders, but Shadow Grinders do a lot of work in the deck actually. As even against beatdown decks, it's going to be pretty gay. And against like my style of deck, they're able to, if I use the first removal spell on it, just keep pushing for damage, they're able to still chalice it still.
It's written right here.
I've gone well beyond the point where a Azindel's Gift is actually going to get us out of this. I think we'll Wisdom first, see what we get. But I think we're pretty much just a double Hailstorm in here. And yep, so we've got enough to sort of do it all here.
The shadow is a gift.
But our opponent here has got more than enough power to be able to just play out their entire hand, and we won't be able to deal with it.
Safe travels, friend.
Especially as this chalice is going to turn anything they draw, like even this random gubbins like the Amber Acolyte, into a real threat. So I'm sort of hoping that this is just a bunch of reactive spells, so we actually just get them to discard the hand. That looks like it is. So we've got time. Due to the amount of power opponent's got them, if they draw like one low power creature, then they are able to just sort of cascade off and keep gaining advantage.
Unleash the storm.
Even able to play channel and then play anything off it.
Tell me, what do you see?
So Lunar Reclaimer's pretty interesting there. I'm at 23 to 24 here. So there can potentially be some sort of decking going on here. Though I'm pretty sure our opponent's got us on a big enough clock here that it won't be a problem. Which we'll do for in cold blood here, just to get rid of these Covans forever. I guess we're just trying to do it the old-fashioned way, just with a Champion of Cunning over the next couple of turns. We will need to Permafrost our opponent's Owl that we're about to create. And this Azindel's Gift has helped a lot, but it's really too late.
Take wing, my friend.
But at least we no longer need to worry about Alan's choice for the rest of the game, which is pretty nice. The Champion of Cunning here was a pretty timely draw. Oh, they had a face agent, so they get to keep this as well, which is pretty nice. So I'm pretty convinced that our opponent should have just 2 copies of the card. That would be pretty nonsense here, so I'm just going to attack here. Our opponent might just prompt the chump here. They've not got to be afraid of anything like a channel here, because it'll just be for 2 few damage. Well, yeah, for 2 few damage. So I'll play out the second copy, and then hopefully we've managed to somehow finagle a win in what feels like an unwinnable game.
Unleash the storm.
If this is a removal spell, we're in rough shape. But we still get to do it over 2 turns, and if we draw any sort of removal spell for this before they're able to deploy any other sort of flying threats.
Think you can escape me?
Okay, so maybe this is a harsh rule. Pretty sure they shouldn't have any other copies left, but vanquish into something else, I'm guessing. Okay, so a channel for 5. And that'll do it. Okay, so savagely unkeepable hand there. I guess Tossboy, which is an interesting name. Sort of reasonable hand against any sort of Oni running deck here. It's got him covered for quite a way through the deck. But it looks like another shadow deck here. These Vara's Favours and the Wisdom of the Elder should really help us just get into the quad primal here for the Channel of Tempest. Or at least the 8 power from the Vara's Favours. I think it's the Stone Scar deck, but they've made no play and played a Seek power, so I think we're safe like firing off one of these Vara's Favours. Must have a torch. But next time we're playing the Primal Sigil and then just jamming that Wisdom of the Elders. That's like a removal pile or armory deck then.
Forged for the throne.
So an actual armory deck. Not seen one of these for a little while. But if they are playing, well, if they're playing Macto, they'll get to answer it pretty easily with the In Cold Blood, which is a nice answer. And if we don't have any reason to use this Vara's Favour, then we do get to Vara's Favour and In Cold Blood a carrier. No, we need some dual faction powers here to be able to make this Champion of Cunning work for us. But the Hailstorm's unlikely to get any other good targets in the deck, so we'll just do it now just to get rid of these two, as 4 pressure isn't nothing when the opponent is also got a bunch of weapons that are just immune to most of our removal. So I'm pretty sure they do actually have a torch. But I am happy just to chuck this Feln Bloodcaster down, just because if it gets rid of the weapon and a torch, that's fine. I just want to try and get to the primal aspect of the Champion of Cunning, just so we get a big, huge Aegis flyer. Yep, so it's like a 2-for-1 really, which is pretty much where I want to be. So I'll just chuck this Wisdom out just in case we find any more powers. Now we've got a Crest out, great. So we've got the primal side, so I think we'll keep this in Cold Blood.
Forged for the throne.
So the Canalize in here is pretty good. I think we're just going to Permafrost this, just because Permafrost doesn't have many targets there. Our opponent is playing things like a Carrier and Tavrod. I'll just play it on the Champion and just start to develop our Shadow. If worst comes to worst and we don't use this to pop an Aegis for In Cold Blood, then we can at least use this to be able to find us the 5th Shadow to start clocking our opponent. Now I've got just infinite In Cold Blood, then enough power to be able to just In Cold Blood just to pop an Aegis, then we're in great shape. But I'm just going to use the Channel of Tempest here just to deal some damage to our opponent's face and just keep getting ahead here. Also got other cheap answers here, like the Hailstorm. So got enough power to deal with a Vara the old-fashioned way with the In Cold Blood. So I'll just attack here for 5 first. Not like instant speed, sounds something to worry about. Just get rid of all this nonsense with the Throne Wardens.
You made it personal.
They're playing free? Yep, playing 3 of them there. So pretty standard list, I think. 7-4 weapons, pretty good here. But we're able to keep it busy for a turn just by the old Feln Bloodcaster. Now, Rise of Challenge is nice, as once we've managed to deal with this weapon, we will be able to just dig up another champion. Just go ham from there. Okay, so Bloodcaster it is. This is just better because he's going to just deal with this. Opponent doesn't have any front lines left. And just his Sigil, which is interesting, but it's still power, so we'll keep it. We can technically actually cast the Rise of the Challenge now. Opponent does, if they do have a removal spell, they are able to get it for 7, but they don't. But if they did a removal spell, then we've still had the out of, but it'll draw a power. And just play both the black skies just to kill the weapon, but I think we'll just get the champion of Cunning here.
The Feln show no mercy.
Right, so opponent's got another Rune Hammer here, because of course all our opponent's weapons are really big now, is being able to play 3 kind of artisans. Play down 2 of our threats here. Before opponent's got a harsh rule, then it's going to suck to be us. But pretty much just want to put him pretty dead pretty quickly.
This ends now.
Reforging the other Rune Hammer is going to be pretty rough for us to overcome here. But we do at least have a Wisdom of the Elders. And I'll get to strategize and just turn these Hailstorms into real cards. And I think the answer might be Dark Return the Champion of Cunning, because this will force our opponent to perhaps use the other version just to prevent themselves from just taking 12 damage. Because they're getting pretty low here. I guess they're rising for an Icaria. So maybe does that prompt the block here? Okay, so we play the 9-6 to kill this, which still trades with the other, and I'm guessing this is perhaps a Icaria in hand, but we do have that pretty covered. Gift's not doing much here, our opponent's got no cards in hand anyway. Or at least one that we won't see next turn. So the Hailstorm's a nice cheap and easy way of dealing with an Aegis. So I think we'll just get rid of the Annihilate here. If it was Dark Return again, let's get back the 13-7.
The Feln show no mercy.
I suppose we get to strategize here again. Yeah, I don't need Permafrost. Do we just play another one? Yeah, may as well. Vara's favour is potentially good here, so I'll just get rid of the Cobalt Waystone, just because we might actually not need that. Okay, cool. So we've got our opponent dead with the Harbinger in the favour, unless our opponent plays a weapon here. 9-7. Okay, so it's going to be pretty gross for us to try and grind through. I guess they're wise to the old in cold blood here. I guess we can just gift them.
The shadow is a gift.
Let me know it was a gift. I suppose we can try and grind through this die show here, but it's going to be pretty rough. But it seems to be a pretty interesting build. Perhaps they're like really heavy on weapons, because they do have Reforge in the deck here. But we are able to kill this die show. Oh, that's a cold blood that. Well, it's a Harbinger plus a Vara's Favour. And then we get to cold blood this.
You made it personal.
They're playing just 3 copies there, so quite an interesting list. Must be quite highly tuned. Just have a Crest of Cunning, just try and find any sort of threat. Vara's Favour is not quite a threat. I just need to sort of fade another Rune Hammer. I was getting full value of this quarry, basically 2 power to draw 3. They did find it, so well, good game with the opponent. Pretty interesting in their list. Okay, so sort of good influence, but we do have a Wisdom of the Elders to try and find us a shadow for the Feln Bloodcaster. For the most part, I think we are playing these quite late. So I get to scout here, just try and find a shadow. Okay, well there's the second shadow source. But I think we'll keep this Crest as well, just because when we find a champion it'll just make it so much better. Play this down and yep, we'll keep this champion as it's going to be pretty good. We've already nearly got the Aegis version and we're not super far away from being able to trigger the shadow side as well here. Well, our opponent's got a 4-4, so the only thing to do here is just play down a 2-5. This could be in the Combray weapon deck, but I don't think I've seen it in that. So hopefully we don't see a Vodafone staff and our opponent crunching in for 7. This is a multi-faction unit, so we aren't able to annihilate it, sadly.
Trust in your skills.
Now we're able to annihilate this, so I think that's what we'll be doing. I'll just get a face Aegis for whatever reason. But we're pretty much just going to be playing down the flyer next turn. And hoping to be able to take over the game the old-fashioned way.
Trust in your skills.
So there's not much we can do here. We can draw cards, try and find another Annihilate, but just play this down as it blocks the 2-3 pretty well. Though our opponent could just be playing Finest out, so if they attack it's going to be a little bit suspicious to me. So I suspect if they do attack this turn, I'll just lay it free, just take the 3, that's fine. And they'll just use the Vara's Favour just to snip out a fast effect. And it's sort of an interesting attack, but I'm just going to let this through. Ideally, just want to dig for a Permafrost now just to keep this down. And find the Permafrost, we'll be able to start crunching in with this 5 here. That's like our opponent's connection might have gone here. Okay, we've got a second copy of the Champion of Cunning, but they don't do a great job in multiples right now. Okay, so we found the Shadow Source, the Permafrost, and I suppose we're just going to chuck this out there just to get the Shadow Sigil. But no real reason to attack here, because we only do 2 damage compared to 3. So I'll just try and develop these Shadow Sources to get these Champion of Cunnings really rolling. Okay, well they've got these 7/7 unlocked here, but I think I'm probably just to tick the 7. get rid of this. Could have attacked there, and then when they make the double block, but I don't think they do because they'd be winning on the race back.
The Feln show no mercy.
So I'm not going to block this turn, but next turn I'm looking to be chumping with the Feln Bloodcaster because I'm going to be ultimate in it.
Ah, here it is.
The opponent's got no power left, so there's no reason to block. Okay, well this is pretty excellent then, as we get to re-permafrost this. I suppose we'll just attack with one of these. I've got a nice block on the 2-5, and if we really have to, I suppose we can chump with the champion here. I played out the Waystone rather than the just a Sigil, just so that opponent doesn't know what we've got quite yet, although I probably will be playing it next turn. And this
From across the sands.
Venom Raider is some spicy technology. I suppose we're taking free. Just going to sweep it up next turn. Yep. Of course, if our opponent had like a Finest Hour then would be in some pretty gross shape. I don't have any units to get back with this Dark Return. So I suppose we'll play it on the Hailstorm. Then we're able to chunk him for 10 in the air. And then Bloodcaster it up. We've got a pretty nice double block here. And if our opponent plays another Enforcer to silence this and re-release it, we can just sort of double block here as well. Okay, so we're going deep for the Warcries. Pretty sure they don't have any single power overwhelm cards here, so we can pretty free to block. And then we're able to win an out turn. Died with these Dark Returns in hand. Okay, so the deck's still sweet. We really felt the lack of Vara as the end game for the deck, and as good as the Channel Tempest and Azindel's Gift is, there's nothing quite like Vara just to start bringing these champion Cunnings back, and the Dark Return's just not quite the same. Although the Dark Return is pretty good at being able to just bring back these Feln Bloodcasters, and even that's good, it's no substitute for the power of the old Vara. This is perhaps one of the saddest casualties of that nerf. I definitely felt the loss of Ranger at 4 as well, as you weren't really able to be as quite as aggressive. Although In Cold Blood was pretty excellent every single time, and though I still think this is quite an aggressive answer to guys like Macto and Tavrod, or maybe even a Carrier, it definitely adds to the power level of just any sort of shadow deck that isn't Argenport basically. Also pretty happy that the JPS unitless control deck doesn't really get to play the In Cold Blood card as well, as there's a real deck building restriction that you need to sort of adhere to. Daraka was pretty cool as a bit of extra punching power, though I'm not sure if something would be better in this slot. Perhaps I would like to see some Thunderstrike Dragons. And perhaps that's maybe what this deck's missing, and I'm going to try it with those in the future just to see how they change it up. But overall the deck was pretty fun. Probably wouldn't recommend playing it on ladder if you're trying to get into Masters, because the games can take a long time to get through. Although it does feel like after you get to a certain point it is pretty difficult to lose. Okay, so I've been that resolved, and this was Galgamation Feln.